Hello, and many thanks for looking in at the channel. Now, I've got something a bit different today. Now, you might remember a few weeks ago we found an excellent box of items. Well, while I was looking for that box of items, I did unearth a few other bits, and I thought this week it would be great to share this. Now, when I looked inside, I was quite pleased to see what was in here, and I really think we can have some fun with this. Now, there's a bit of work to be done to make it suitable for the Triangle Super 4 Vintage Railway, and that will show itself in a minute. But look, someone's really taken the time to make a nice typed on label there which says City of Stoke-on-Trent locomotive. Now, will that give you a clue as to what's in here? Now, you will have to excuse me if there's some strange noises. I've got a cough sweet in my mouth to try and prevent coughing, because I seem to have got a little bug. Right, let's have a look in here. So, lots of tissue paper. This has been packed away with a bit of care and attention, and you'll see why, because what a lovely group of items we've got in here. So this is indeed a Wrenn 2227 City of Stoke-on-Trent, but there's a bit of a difference with this loco, and I think it'll all become clear in a minute. So there's bits in the box, so let's take a look at them. Now, you might recognise this as a pickup wire, so I'm just going to put all these bits safe, and then there's a pickup plate. Now, I think there's a second one, but it's just escaped my grip. It seems to have slipped down in the box, but I might be able to just ease it out. So yes, look, we've got two items here, and there's a number on there, and is there a number on this one? Yeah, so 20738 I think, and 20737. so I'm going to put those over with the wire. Now, here's something interesting, a accessories spare part bag. Says G&R Wrenn Limited, Basildon. Now, the sticker is missing, but there's a Roy on there, if you can see that. Now, there was a Roy Douglas model shop in Northampton years ago. It's got a number written on there, W730, and then I think it's an 8. It's been crossed out and changed. But what we do have in here, and I'm not opening it just at the minute, is a 5-pole Wrenn armature. So that's a really interesting and nice item, and to me looks unopened, so I'm going to put that to the side. Okay, let's take a look at the loco. Well, here's the tender, and look at the condition of this. It's seen very little running. There's a little few marks on it, but nylon wheels there, the lovely old sort of Hornby 00 type chassis there. In fact, I think those two round holes are probably for 3-rail pickups, but there we go. So there's a lovely tender, and I'm just going to reach and get my bit of foam ready so I can hold this in different ways. Let's have a look. So can you see what's happened here? So let's just perhaps move the box out of the way. Let's take a look at the body first. Apart from that lining band, which has been applied a bit wonky, and no linings on the cylinders, this is a really tidy example of this magnificent locomotive. You can just see the back of the motor in there. Nickel wheels. Look at the condition of that armature. That's a 3-pole armature. So a great thing, but let me just stick this foam on. Okay, what can you see? Well, of course, this has received a bit of a 3-rail conversion, and it looks like it's been done quite well, because if I bring it into camera just right up so you can see, you can also see that they've put a pickup onto the insulated wheels as well. So both of the wheels are picking up probably the return, or negative if you want to call it negative, but it's only negative when it's going in one direction. The wheels are nice and free, but we've got this really nice 3-rail skate on there. So very interesting. Now I wonder whether I can get this body shell off so we can have a look inside. I won't pause the video, just bear with me. So my plan for this is to sympathetically return it to 2-rail running, keep all the parts, then if it wants to be put back to 3-rail running it can be, but I want to enjoy this on the Super 4 layout. So look, I've just taken a very small screw out there, and I'm hoping now the chassis will come out. So indeed it does. So we'll take a look inside the body. It's very clean in there. You can see the split pins, and just there, GW Wrenn Limited, and then made in England. So I'm going to put that safe just over there, and let's look at this. Now I don't think this has been run much. What do you think? Let's have a look at the condition of it. You can see the brushes there, commutator looks nice and clean, windings look immaculate. There's just a lovely little bit of float in the armature, it's not too tight. And then we've got the original wiring, and here, if I just have a look, you can see we've got these 2 nuts. So I think that is probably all that's securing this pickup on it. So I wonder whether I can undo those. So I'm just going to gently move the wiring out of the way, and then if you can just bear with me a second while I look for something nice to undo that little nut. I don't want to do it with pliers. Okay, well, I've had a good rummage around and I've just come across a nice little socket here, and it's a 1/4 AF, so I think this is probably the one. So let's have a look. I'm going to just pop that on. That's a snug fit, that is. So let's just see if I can start to loosen off. Now it did look to me like there were 2, so there's a sort of lock nut effect here. No, it seems to be coming off quite nicely. So there we have 1 nut, and the wire has just been wrapped around, so that's undone. So I'm just getting the other one off now gently. Really doesn't seem to want to come off. I would imagine it's spinning at the bottom, so I'm just going to put my finger on there and just see if I can spin it off with my other finger. So let's see what this is going to reveal. So another nut, and then I'm going to push this down, and the whole collector has disassembled. So we've got the shoes, we've got the insulator, and another insulator here. So I'm going to very carefully just remove this, just pop that over there. That reveals quite a big hole. So underneath, I think, yeah, I've just popped off this other insulator. Oh, right, this is interesting. So let's just put that down. So there's all our 3-rail pickup assembly there, perfectly good enough to use. But you can see this is quite ingenious how someone has done this. They've used the screw holes for the collector plate for the 2-rail pickup, and they've made a pickup to go to each of the flanged wheels. Let's just see whether those will undo. Gosh, that's really tight. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that one. I don't want to shear off the... Right, well that one's undone. Let's have a look. So that's a countersunk screw. Let me just see if I can show you what I've found here. So hopefully you can see in my hand a countersunk screw and a homemade pickup. So I'm going to put that safe. I'm going to get a slightly more durable screwdriver. Let's just hope this screw comes out. It's super tight, that is. Okay. Well, the magnet's quite good. You might see that got pulled across. I just don't seem to be able to get into this screw. So let's just have a look. Is it the slot? A bit dirty. Let's try again. Oh, I think I've eased it, but my goodness, that was really tight. Let's hope the threads are okay, but no, it's coming out. And a much, well, a similar screw. Let's just show you. So another homemade pickup and countersunk screw. So now look, we have insulated wheels on this side of the loco, and our 2-rail pickup will surely go in there. So let's have a look and just see these parts. I'm probably going to have to find some other screws, but I think the wire, our existing wire, and if I very carefully just, it's a bit short, isn't it? I don't know whether I'll have to graft on another wire there, but we want the wire to come down through that central hole, and then we can place the pickup bottom plate into position. You can see it lines up perfectly with the screw holes, and then we can thread the wire through and solder it to the pickup. So it's going to be really easy to put this back to 2-rail running. So let me just, yeah, you can see they're countersunk as well. So maybe those are the original screws. I will check those for length off camera. Well, actually, I don't need to pause it just now. What I could do is just pop that one on there. And if I'm dexterous enough, I could perhaps just put the screw back and see whether it'll engage. So I'm not going to do this too tightly. Let's just see whether it'll find the threads. Well, I would imagine that whoever converted this used the original screws, because that goes in beautifully. So what I'm going to do off camera is just sort this wire out, and it's soldered to the pickup. So if I just show you this, bring it into view, you can perhaps just see there's a little bit of solder on this one, just there. So we're going to just solder our wire to that, and we should be back set up for 2-rail running. But what I am going to do is I'm going to very carefully put all this stuff into a little polythene bag, because this is like a 3-rail conversion kit for one of these locos, and if I ever want to make this 3-rail again, of course I can just retrofit all these pieces, or I can use them on something else. But pretty important that I keep those. Now, what do you think? I'm not doing it this week, but would you like to see a 5-pole conversion on this loco? I'm thinking that armature would probably be a straight swap. It might be interesting to do another time. So what I'm going to do today is finish this, and then we'll just end the video with a nice bit of running on the layout. But I'm going to let you have a think about whether you'd like to see a 5-pole conversion on this loco to see whether it improves the running. We will of course have to remagnetise it if we split this, but that's no problem. We can probably use the existing brushes and just carefully take out this 3-pole armature. So I'll look forward to hearing what you think about that. But right now I'm going to warm up my soldering iron, sort the wiring out, and we'll come back when that's done. Okay, well, I've had the soldering iron out and I've spent a little bit of time on it, so let me just see if I can show you. The 2-rail pickup is now in place, and can you just see the soldering? Very small. You have to be quite accurate to get it to line up with the hole. So there's the soldering, you can see through that central hole, and the 2 pieces of pickup are touching the wheels nicely. Now, I didn't solder any more wire on, I just rearranged the wire so that I could pull it down through the hole. Now what I am going to do, and it's a little bit tricky handheld, but let's see if I can just encourage this onto the test track. It's not so much the big wheels, it's getting these little bogey wheels on, which can be a bit troublesome. But I think that's going to be okay. Now look, I have cleaned the commutator there and just given it a light oil. So if I move back, let me just see how it goes. Well, quite pleased with that. They're great locos, these. But it does look to me like this is going to be quite a smooth runner. And you can just see the armature going around quite nicely in this shot. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. So I'm just going to put the body shell back on, and then we'll end the video today with a nice bit of running around the old vintage layout. Okay, well, the city of Stoke-on-Trent is sitting on the upward main line. Now you'll notice that I've got a Hornby 00 converter wagon there, because this loco's actually got a Hornby 00 coupling on the tender at the moment, and I didn't fancy changing it out just yet. So I'm going to put a bit of power on, and we've got it pulling the same rake of coaches that the Britannia was pulling the other day. That's still a bit stiff from lack of use, but it looks pretty good. And it's making a great noise. It's almost whistling. I quite like it. Big heavy loco, and it seems to be coping with the Super 4 track. So what have I got to keep it company? Well, let's have a look. And I've got a bit of Triang motive power on the downward main line. It's a green Princess Elizabeth, and I hope, maybe, I think it was Andrew that suggested how to make a nice converter wagon. Well, I've got the Hornby 00 super detail coaches on there, and you can see that I've got my homemade utility van converter, and I think it looks quite good. Now, the reason I got this Princess Elizabeth out was I just found it the other day, and I love the colour of this, and I just thought I'm going to put it on the layout for a bit of fun. So these coaches and trains that I've got running today are probably not strictly prototypical, but for having fun on your vintage model railway, well, you can run what you want, can't you? So do you think this City of Stoke-on-Trent would run smoother with a 5-pole armature? I've never done a 5-pole conversion on one of these vertical Hornby 00 Wrenn type motors, so it might be good. I'm almost itching to get that one out of the packet and shove it in something. I mean, it doesn't have to be this City of Stoke-on-Trent. I could put it in a mixed traffic tank, something like one of the 264s. I think actually if I just have a look and I use my hand, I think I've got something quite nice sitting in this engine shed. There, look, we've got a GWR 264 tank there. I bet that would go superbly with a 5-pole armature. So I'll let you guys give me some suggestions. But right now, it's time to play with a few vintage trains. So the Princess Elizabeth from Triang is speeding up and it looks superb. And the City of Stoke-on-Trent, oh well, it does look superb because it's escaped. Just bear with me. So what's happened there? There's always something interesting happening on the railway. So I'm reversing it up now. So my homemade converter wagon seems to have come uncoupled. So let's just see whether it'll couple up itself while we're back. But we'll have a quick look. Let's just get to a point where I can have a look in. Now these are the Delron type couplings, and I don't really like them. They sort of move about a bit. Well, it still looks like it's... Oh, we've had another uncoupling. There we go, look at this. So it must be the season. So all the fun of the railway. So I'm just going to get this one going again. And I need to back up the City of Stoke-on-Trent. So look, we've got them running together over on that side of the layout. Now this is absolutely no good for the passengers, is it? But I'm just wondering if I can recouple and commence the running again. So a little bit of contact in the station there, and have I had success? Yes. Well, let's just put a bit more power in the Princess. Oh, and once again we've come uncoupled. This is turning into to be quite an eventful piece of running. I might have to change out this coupling. And now I think I've just come to rest on this diamond in a bad place, so I'll just move it forward a bit and try again. Little bit of wheel slip there. Well, I don't mind. And I'm certainly not going to edit out these little occurrences. It's all part of running. It's all part of the fun of this old stuff. And that's why please don't leave your vintage railways unattended. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing what was in the box today. We've got the City of Stoke-on-Trent running again. I'd like to get a 5-pole armature in either that or another loco. Let me know what you think. And we'll just watch them go around the railway a little more and see whether we have another uncoupling. So until the next video, I'm going to have a bit more running fun. So all being well, I'll see you next time, but for now I'll say goodbye. Oh!